Whoa. 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 It's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. It's it's a late sober Wednesday. We're getting a late start to it today because I was running errands. What's going on, Dan Z? And I just got in the door. I had some dinner, and I'm like, it's Sober Wednesday, present and accounted for. So it's a another edition of Sober Wednesday. I don't think we did one last Wednesday. What's going on, Hobo Pro, Super Soup Ernova, Flow Seeker, PMI. Yeah, Waterloo, dude. On sale at the Costco today, dude. $6 for an 18 pack. What's going on, Drowning Monday? So it's Sober Wednesday, dude. And I should start with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yeah. So it's Sober Wednesday. We missed last Wednesday. I was I had to go do a business function on last Wednesday. So we had to drive down to LA and mingle, network. They call it networking. Network. Getting after it, yo. And so today I got another business trip on Friday to do some networking. So I went down, got the car all tuned up and oil changed, tires rotated, went and did my errands. Went to the Chinese military base where you buy your building supplies, and then I went to the Chinese military base where you get your bulk goods, and then I went to the Chinese military base where you buy like your household goods. So I went to 3 Chinese military bases this afternoon to do some shopping in America. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about being sober this fine day. And do I want to read how it works, or maybe just maybe I'll just read the promises. Now, how about we read the promises, dude? Promises are a little bit funner, a little bit quicker. Since we got to a late start, we're late. I gotta do a hard break at 9:30. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom, a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest of selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Yeah, dude, I think that's pretty good. That's a good paragraph right there, dude. That's a solid paragraph right there. The promises, man. What's going on, Carooster, dude? And yeah. Yeah, dude. So anyway, I had this sort of, you move through life, right? And once you've gotten past the obsession has been removed and you're doing the sober thing and you've turned your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him, and you're practicing these principles in all of your affairs, and you're having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps to carry this message to the alcoholic who suffers and practice these principles in all my affairs, you go about your business, dude, right? And then you'll have these moments where life gets super complicated. And it's not like I think for me, and I can only speak for myself, of course, but I can deal with like impact chaos. I guess that's the best way to say impact chaos. I can deal with like, the mountain's on fire, or there's some sort of catastrophic chaos has occurred. I function in that space very well, dude. I can separate my internal self from my external problem solving skills. I can get out of my head. I can be of service, basically, right? But then there's this thing in life where it's like the slow creep. Like, instead of it being like, I don't know, like the plane crashing into the side of the mountain kind of chaos, it's the slow creep of whatever it is. And so I was faced with that the most of the beginning of this week, right? And I was making a stream yesterday, and I was talking about facing the firing squad. It's very interesting how this all came to be. Was the solution to my problem, right? Because it's always perception. It's never actually the problem. It's always the perception of where you are in the problem, right? And the thing that I think jams up sober people and people who want to get sober is the need to solve the problem. Like, how do I fix this? How do I solve the problem? What do I do? What do I do? And because like I would say, it's like, it's easy to know what to do when the plane crashes into the side of the mountain, dude. You just run on instinct. You know exactly what to do. But when it's the slow creep problem, it sort of is there all of a sudden, but it's been part of your background for a while. It didn't just appear out of the thin blue air. It's been there, slowly making its way to this moment of impact. And so you don't recognize it in the same way. So you have it's intertwined into the fabric of who you are as a human being at that time and space in your existence. It's part of you, and it's not some external issue that you can solve or cope with or be of service to. It's very intertwined. And so yesterday I was talking about, and again, this is the interesting thing of life and God and faith and turning your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand it. The solution to the problem wasn't the answer. The solution to the problem was the perception of how to deal with the problem. Not how to fix the problem, but just how to like cope with it on a present moment perspective. And I was talking, and I don't know where this all came from, but like the pieces just fall together, and sometimes you just have to collect all your bits and pieces. And that's why, side note, little detour here for a second, that's why sobriety is all about communicating with other beings. Because when you communicate with other beings, you sort of have to verbalize all your data that you've collected about said situation and try to articulate it to another human being so that they can kind of deal with what it is that you're trying to communicate. And when you do that, like it's because where two or more are gathered, there he is. You know, that's where God exists, with two or more beings sharing the same space, whether it's the technology now or sitting in your backyard with another human being. And so I was talking about yesterday, and this is why isolation is really the road to destruction in sobriety. Like, being isolated is what will ultimately nuke your entire life, dude, most likely. And so when I was talking about it yesterday, I was just randomly talking about this thing where I was observing an old thing about a dude facing a firing squad, and I was asking myself whether I was the kind of person, if I was facing a firing squad, whether I would have a blindfold or not. No blindfold or a blindfold. And I was like, so in that moment, I was like, well, who's the firing squad? And of course, it was God was the firing squad on the other side. It was either, and God was me without the blindfold. And if the devil was the firing squad, I would have the blindfold. And because if I'm with God, I have no fear of the firing squad, right? Because none of this exists. It's all attachment issues. And so I was talking about this, and it's like this light went on, this spiritual light went on, where I was like, oh, I got to stare down the barrel of the gun. That is my problem. The problem that's facing me in my life that showed up in the slow creep. Like, now it's time to go stand in front of the firing squad. And because I had spent a certain part of it with the blindfold on, I didn't want to really like acknowledge the problem or the situation, because I didn't have a solution. Like, the lack of solution put me into fear, which enabled me to not be able to have a solution. And it was like the minute I looked down the barrel of the gun and realized that I don't need to have a solution. The solution is to stand there and look into the barrel of the firing squad and realize that God is on the other side of that barrel. I know it's like a weird like metaphor, because like, or analogy, because like, why is God pointing a gun at me? Because I put the gun in God's hand to point him at me. Ultimately, like, that is the metaphysical jam of the firing squad. You, by your very nature, have chosen to be in front of a firing squad, you know? And so when I took off the blindfold and faced the firing squad and realized that God was the one on the other side of it, like, I realized something. And it's this thing, you know, it is the promises, is fear of people and economical insecurity will leave us. We'll intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And it was that aha moment yesterday of the answer to the problem was my perception of the problem. Like, that's the trippiest part about being sober. Because I was willing to change my perception of the problem, it ultimately changed the whole universe. And that's, I think that is why we turn our will and our life over to the care of God, as we understand it. If we follow the steps, right, we admit we're powerless over alcohol and our lives have become unmanageable. That unmanageability is like a constant state of existence. If you truly chart it, if you truly are digging within yourself to seek the solution, you realize that you have zero management of your life. Yeah, sure, you can pay your bills on time, and you can have your car get a nice oil change, and you can do this, and you can do all these things that appear to be managing it. And yet in the broad, in the 30,000 foot perspective, there's zero management of your life. There's no way to manage it. You can do your best to take care of the next indicated action, to do the task before you, to set yourself up for a more somewhat manageable situation. But at the end, like, God's completely running the show, and it's up to you to choose to either give God the wheel or keep driving the car in self-will. And that's what it was with the blindfold analogy. Was like, the minute I decided to open my eyes and look, like, nobody wants to stand in front of a firing squad, dude. Like, nobody. Like, I don't think there's joyous people that walk in front of the firing squad and are like, yeah, this is bitching, dude. No, it's that, and this, just so we're clear, the firing squad is like life altering problems that you don't know what to deal with. They're just pointed at you. You don't know which one has the live round or which one doesn't have the live round, right? What only one person actually has the bullet, right? Or is it the other way around? I forget. But you don't know which one it is. So like, the thing is because you don't want to, nobody wants a problem, man. Nobody wants their life to be in the like, I don't know what to do phase. I don't know how this is all going to work out. And yet, as an alcoholic, like, we can't retreat. Like, we don't, like, as a sober person, I don't have the option to disappear for an afternoon, drink or smoke some weed or sniffy sniff or shoot up or whatever it is you do to escape. Like, I don't have that option anymore, because, like, I'm so far along in my sobriety. It's like, that's not the game. The game is but the option I do have as a sober person is to put the blindfold on, is to stay in a state of fear, is to not look it dead on and put it back into God's hands, right? Because with the blindfold on, I don't want to face the problem, because, like, I have forgotten that God's in charge, right? It's that weird thing. Like, the blindfold is me attempting to manage my unmanageable life and be like, okay, if, like, I just keep the blindfold on, which is fear, all of these I don't know what to do, all of these doubts and oh my goodness, and whoa, and poor me, and oh my God, this is so unfair, and all this kind of stuff, right? And so when I'm doing that, I'm trying to have control of the situation. It might be negative control, but I'm trying to control the situation in a sort of doomsday scenario. At least, like, it's that one of, like, it's like, I'm going to take the ball, and, like, nobody's going to play football because I'm going to take the ball and go home, kind of thing, right? And because I don't know how to play the game. Like, oh, I'm not letting you guys use the football. I don't know how to play football, right? And so now I'm mixing metaphors, but what I'm getting at is it clicked in yesterday while I was talking that, like the secret to, like, being sober at this, like, when the obsession's been removed and you're actually living your life and you're doing your thing, and like, drinking and drugging is not an option, stuff's gonna happen, dude. Like, life gets super difficult, and it's that moment where you go, oh, the secret is to truly accept the problem, is to truly understand that the bullet of the firing squad is ultimately a lesson of love. It is ultimately one more chance to turn your will. And step 3, I turn my will, my life over to the care of God as I understand Him, right? It's a truly beautiful moment where you get to turn yourself back over to the inevitable reality that is before you, dude. And because you've turned yourself over, to even mix it up, the metaphor even more, it is the speech that they give Neo when he's like, I'll be able to, like, dodge bullets, dude. And they're like, dude, no, like they won't exist anymore. Like the bullet, I don't need to dodge the bullet. Like my goal is to, like, look it dead in the eye and actually go into it, like like Neo goes right into the agent's chest with the problem called life. And it was like the minute I did that, like I was empowered again. Like, because that's I think that people think when the concept to turn your will and your life over to care of God is understanding is a passive thing. It's not. It's a super potent activity, because the minute you turn yourself over back to God and you let God run the show, you're empowered all of a sudden. It's a very weird, like, duality. The minute you admit you're powerless, you gain power back to solve the problem. And it was like immediately, like, the whole universe, like, changed. It went from a cloudy day to a sunny day, just with the perceptual understanding of this weird metaphor that came across my data banks of, like, why would I be the person who stands in front of a firing squad with a mask on? Like, no, I'm going to look right in the barrel, right in there, dude, wherever that is. And ultimately, like, if I look deep enough in the barrel, like, I ultimately get to God of my understanding. And there is the sober solution, right? There's one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him. Now, well, I had to look into the scariest moment and see that God was in the middle of that terrifying moment. And when you do that, it's like all of a sudden you're liberated, and now you can begin to manifest, practicing these principles all in our affairs, right? You're now in a different energy field. You're not in the field of fear, right? Because that, I think, like, as we get sober, like, really, like my life now, I think I'm going to be 16 years sober in January, right? The things that I have as problems now, I couldn't have dealt with in year 1, year 2, year 5, year 7, year 10, year 12. Like the problems I have in my life, like, I wouldn't have been able to pull them off when I was newly sober or anywhere along. The problems I have now in life are based upon the fact that I have 16 years of sober, that I've looked down the barrel of the metaphorical gun many, many times, dude. Many, many times I've realized the solution wasn't to run. The solution wasn't to run. Now we're just going to switch metaphors to so the agent in the Matrix is alcoholism, right? Right? That is alcoholism. You could say that the Matrix is actually a movie about alcoholism, right? The agent Smith, is alcoholism, and Neo is a dude who's trying to be sober, dude. And the minute he realizes the truth about what it is, and he goes right in and stops running, right? That the whole moment it changes is when Neo realizes he's not going to be run. He's going to be the first one not to run, because he's the one. And that's what sobriety is all about. It's about not running. And trust me, dude, the first thing I always want to do is run away, dude. I don't want to deal with this. This is too much. This problem's too big, too grand. I don't know how to do this. I rather fail than succeed, because it's easier. Remember, that's the rub with it is it is easier. It's easier to fail than succeed. And that's what we're doing as sober people, to realize that we want to succeed. We don't want to fail, right? Because you could easily, like, listen, you could easily get sober, or not. Let's say you could easily just stop drinking. I don't drink, I don't drug anymore, and not be sober. See, the whole point of being sober is to face firing squads with more weapons pointed at you, dude. That, like listen, when I was first getting sober, like, it was literally, my firing squad was a slingshot, dude. It was a 5-year-old kid with a slingshot pointed at me, dude. You're gonna drink. You're gonna drink. You can't handle this. I'm gonna. And then, as my sobriety progressed, it became a BB gun, then a pellet gun, and sometimes I look at the my most recent moment of fear and overwhelming life problems. It was a nuclear powered aircraft carrier with like a deck full of planes shooting thermonuclear Tomahawk missiles at my head, dude. Right. And like, hide. And for sure they would have gotten me, except I realized I just needed to look into it, dude. I just needed to look into it, right into it, because that thing, whatever it is alcoholism. That's what alcoholism is. It's the fear, because on the other side of the fear is God, which is love, right? That's why the whole, listen, I mean, not to be preachy, because I think that if you're newly getting sober, what I'm talking about is very, like, extreme God interface. So let me whittle this down to a smaller concept, right? When we're first getting sober, like our first problem is just not to drink or use, one day at a time, like, just to get through a day. Like I don't think that people, like, I think people forget, and I try never to forget, is what a miracle it was to get through that first day without a drink or a drug or any sort of, and be in that heightened sense of pain, lack of spiritual connectivity, totally discomfortable in my spacesuit. My spacesuit's not operating properly. It just needs its medicine. My spiritual condition is non-existent, maybe somewhat there, I don't know. And my mental space is totally scrambled. So the miracle of getting through the first day is like, wow, man. And then do that again, day 2 and 3. And you just string these days along, because every day it's a new and improved firing squad, shooting a new and improved alcohol-based problem. Now it's the agent in the red dress, dude, right? Like, that's why I always thought, that's the problem. It's for me, like, I remember when the house burned down and the whole community burned down, like, that was the agent in the red dress right there, dude. Like, come with us, dude. Solve your problems today. Just smoke a little weed or drink some alcohol. Like, but I knew that was the agent. That was alcoholism trying to, and that actually, that was one of my purest moments as a sober person. Like, I wasn't going to go out, but I do remember sitting in the rain. I remember sitting, like, after the fire, like 4 months after the fire, me and my wife had separated. I was living in that trailer that was like a redux of the one that had burned down. I was sitting there with Owl eating his macaronis, and it was raining, and the trailer was leaking. It was a big rainstorm, and it was leaking. And I remember sitting in there leaking, and Owl's 3, 4, something like 3, eating his macaronis. And I remember sitting there looking at him and going, I just want to do a bunch of blow right now. It's all I want to do. And I remember having this like super gnarly moment of like looking at like, I mean, you guys know, like Owl's my universe, man. And sitting there looking at this perfect 3-year-old child and being like, that dude's not enough right now. Like my addiction and drugs and chaos and wanting out of the moment, of the uncomfortability. And I had that, like that to me will always be like a crazy night. I learned something truly deep about the insidious nature of drugs and alcohol, because my perfect child wasn't enough to keep me that night. And only due to the grace of God did I survive that night, dude, because like that's where my training as a sober person kicked in, where I was like, all right, dude, just don't do it tonight. If you still feel the same way tomorrow, like go right ahead, dude. And it was a long night, dude. It was a long night of knowing that I would say that night was harder than the first night, because I had all the data at that point. Like the first night of getting sober, the first night I'm not drinking and drugging no matter what, compared to that night almost 8 years later, that night was truly painful, man. Because that was like when I had it all, dude. Like and that night, that was the gnarliest firing squad ever. And the only way I got through that night was because I admitted to myself. I sat there with my little human eating his macaronis, sitting in that trailer, pouring rain in through the roof, dude. I admitted the truth to myself, that I was truly powerless to my addictions, that there was nothing except the situation keeping me there. The rain, the like, you know, just all the pieces were there just to keep me stationary. But inside my head, I was gone, dude. I was doing snoochie boochies, dude, and getting weird. But I stared at it. I looked at it, dude. Because at that point I'd done the big crazy trip with those Australian kids when I was in charge of hanging on to their blow for them, dude. Like they had like a football of it, dude. And I didn't care. Like that was the irony. Like I wanted like, and so like I remember getting through that night, not for any other reason than I admitted the truth to myself. I admitted that I was powerless over drugs and alcohol, that my life was unmanageable. And I had to do all the steps like in that space, staring at my son eating macaronis, realizing that I would burn it all down right then and there. Like if the wrong person had knocked on my door that night, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have. I don't know. I truly don't know. I remember that night. It's very potent evening for me. So what I'm getting at is you go through these moments where like, yeah, the obsession had been removed. But I can't say that with any certainty that tomorrow the obsession won't return. I don't know. It's like one of those weird movies, dude, you know? But what I learned yesterday, and again, is why the discomfort of life is so important to the to the alcoholic who is on the journey of spiritual growth and spiritual recovery and spiritual, is that you need to constantly have these moments where you stare into the firing squad, where you take the blindfold off and you see God on the other side. And you know that it doesn't exist anymore. It almost disappears. And then you get to this energy field. Like the minute it happened, it was like the energy field changed, man. Like I really have like felt it, and it's all changing on a different level, man. And yeah, man, like life is sheer terror sometimes. Sheer terror. Like, listen, man, like I like my life's pretty vanilla compared to the terror that I could have on spaceship Earth today, dude. But that's not, I think that does you a disservice. It does me a disservice. I don't want to say you can't speak for you. That thinking does me a disservice because if I go, well, you know, I don't have like, I'm not sitting on the Gaza Strip, so yeah, it's all gravy, dude. That's the slippery slope of like, well, I can have a drink too. No, like for me, yesterday, at some point yesterday, it was that critical, dude, because it doesn't matter. If I drink, I will have no perception of what's going on the other side of the planet. I will have no ability to even cognitively understand any of this stuff. Like I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If I drink, it all disappears, dude. It's like one of some Star Trek episodes, you know? Like if I were to drink, it wouldn't, their pain disappears too. so does the joy of the other stuff. It all disappears because I've chosen to take the smallest bit of it and eat it and be like, okay, my life now is misery, dude, because I want to keep the blindfold on, and I'm not going to look into the truth that God's standing right there on the other side of the firing squad going, dude, you're not the droid they're looking for. Come with me, traveler. And it's like all of a sudden you sit there and it's like so dumb. Like that's what I will tell you as like the journey of sobriety is like the more you practice it, the more you realize it's like you are casting spells upon yourself constantly. Like everybody wants to talk about like, you know, the evildoers out there. Dude, it's me. I'm the one who's sitting there going, dude, you're doomed, bro. You're never going to figure it out, man. Put the blindfold on. Just let them pop the rounds into you, dude. You're doomed, bro. Yeah, you made it this far, but it's over. You saw the high water mark. You peaked. It's all downhill from here, dude. like I'm the dude casting the spells on me, but it's not me. It's my alcoholic me. Like when you understand that when you understand you're not your thoughts, that your thoughts are an imposter, that's where the alcoholism lives, that if you're truly your spiritual self, like the alcoholic self is very small. It's over there, clanging its cymbals like one of those little monkeys. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And you do, and all of a sudden the clanging monkey has got your attention, and then the clanging monkey turns into the gorilla, and then the gorilla turns into Godzilla, and then the Godzilla turns into Satan with the laughing wings. Sorcerers of deconstruction. I mean, it's like your life turns into the beginning of War Pigs, dude, and you're like, what happened, dude? I just want to be a sober guy. Why am I living the first verse of War Pigs? Like, what the hell is going on here, man? And that's what I'm trying to say is yeah, the minute if I think that my problems are insignificant compared to the drama going on in spaceship Earth, then I'm actually like putting the blindfold on and being like, yeah, like whatever. No, I as an alcoholic have to look at what's right in front of me and be like, oh my God, the Armageddon is in here, dude. Mutually assured destruction's in here, dude. Right in here, dude. It's not out there, dude. Sure, it's going on. There's craziness going on all over the place. But right here, dude, right inside of my mind, my alcoholism will convince me that I can't get through this. Might as well what? Might as well what? Walk into the woods and never come back, dude. Give it up, throw in the towel. I don't know. Walk away. I don't know. I crossed all those bridges, dude. And it wasn't until I talked about, like, am I the dude who wears a mask? And this is like I don't know if I'll ever forget this moment, like, that happened yesterday on that live stream, dude, was like, am I the dude who wears a mask or looks into the barrels of the firing squad? And it was like the minute I asked myself, who am I? What kind of human being am I? Again, that's the first 3 steps, right? Because if I don't want to admit that my life is unmanageable, if I don't want to admit that I'm powerless to drugs and alcohol, if I don't want to come to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, if I don't want to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him, and it's like all of a sudden you rip the blindfolds off and you go, yes, I am powerless, dude. I have no ability to do any of this, dude. And I this is unmanageable. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, dude. Okay, good. Now I can go to step 2, which is came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Because that means because I can deal with being insane. See, up until me admitting that I was powerless and unmanageable, I thought I was sane. See, that's the trick of the alcoholic mind, is to convince you you're sane. I'm not sane. I'm an alcoholic. I will always be batshit crazy, dude. Like, even when I'm being totally rational and totally sane and totally of service and I totally got my life together, I am crazy, dude. Crazy, dude. At any given moment, I can just click and be like, dude, like, Satan, thy wings, sorcerers of destruction. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take but a thought. Dude, like the wind blew backwards, dude. I stubbed my toe, dude. Whatever it is, dude, it doesn't take much. So because I've gotten to the point where I like came to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me. See, I'm not denying I'm insane. Step 2 is totally being at peace with being crazy. Like, I think most people don't understand what step 2 is. Came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, dude. I just need to be restored long enough to turn my will and my life over to care of God as I understand. Okay, God, you run the show. I'm crazy, dude. Okay, God, you run the show. God's like, look at it. God's sitting there like, look at it, dude. Look at it, dude. Look at the terror. Look at all the reasons you have to quit and go drink and burn it all down. Look at it. Look at it. What do you see? And I'm like, God, well, if I look at that too long, I don't see you. God's exactly, stop looking at it now. Now that you've looked at it long enough, come with me. Let's go. Where are we going, God? Doesn't matter. Look at it. Stay there. Look at it all you want, or come with me. Oh, I just got to go with you, God. Yeah. Just let's go, dude. But no buts. Just, I got you. All right. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell, dude. Like it's not, it never was about drinking. Drinking was just a solution because I was busy looking at it. Anyway, dude, I'm gonna cut out. It's 9:30 here. Anyhow, yeah, supernova. No capping here, okay? We got too many people capping, dude. We don't cap here, dude. It's rule number one, dude. Anyhow, what's going on, dude? What's going on, Biker Benny, dude? We got so anyhow, I'm gonna get going here on Sober Wednesday. Look, dude, whatever it is, don't self-delete. Don't do that. Dude, call 988, text 988. You can get all the help you need, dude. Talk to someone, talk to anyone. Just don't self-delete. You can make it through the night, dude, and get to the other side. And then if you suffer from alcoholism and you want to get sober, dude, you can basically look up anywhere you are kind of on the planet at this point and type into your search engine wherever you are, AA Central Office, and you'll get a list of meetings, you'll get some phone numbers, you'll get some solutions out, which are based upon you picking up the phone and talking to another human being and allowing them to help you, dude. So if you really want help, you got to allow someone to help you. Step one, right? You got to, because that's where God is. Where two or more are gathered, there God is. So, with that said, yeah, let them help you, dude. Pick up the phone and one day at a time. Thanks for being here. And with that said, we will end this on the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. All right. Good night, everyone, man. We will see you later.